Have you ever wondered what Goliath inherited from the Nephilim giants? Legends suggest that this biblical giant possessed extraordinary strength and stature, making him a fearsome opponent. Some even believe he carried supernatural abilities passed down from these mysterious beings, giving him a distinct advantage in battle. Whether it was sheer size, unparalleled strength, or something more enigmatic, Goliath's legacy is deeply intertwined with the ancient power attributed to the Nephilim giants. Goliath, the notorious giant from the Bible, is often linked to the enigmatic Nephilim. These beings, described as the offspring of fallen angels and human women, were renowned for their immense size and strength. The connection between Goliath and the Nephilim adds an intriguing dimension to his story, shrouding him in myth and fascination. This association makes Goliath not only a towering warrior but also a symbol of ancient mysteries and supernatural power. The Bible provides a detailed account of Goliath in 1 Samuel, where he is described as the Philistine army's most formidable warrior. His towering height and strength set him apart, earning him the title of a giant. However, questions about Goliath's ancestry have sparked much speculation. Was he truly a Philistine by origin, or could his lineage trace back to other ancient peoples? Some evidence suggests that Goliath might have belonged to the Anakim, a group distinct from the Philistines who were described as giants in biblical texts. To understand Goliath's possible connection to the Nephilim, we must delve into the story of the Israelites' exploration of Canaan, recounted in Numbers 13. Before their wilderness journey, Moses sent spies to survey the Promised Land. Upon their return, the spies reported encountering people of extraordinary height, identified as the Nephilim, descendants of Anak. This alarming report caused fear among the Israelites, as they believed the Nephilim to be mighty giants who made them feel like mere grasshoppers in comparison. The term Nephilim is rare in the Bible but appears in two key contexts, Numbers 13 and Genesis 6. In both cases, the term is often translated as giants in ancient Greek and Latin texts. In Genesis 6 verse 4, the Nephilim are described as mighty men of old, men of renown, who existed both before and after the flood. This suggests that despite God's judgment during Noah's time, the Nephilim, or their legacy, persisted in the post-flood world. Is there a direct connection between Goliath and the Nephilim described in Numbers 13? To answer this, we must examine Joshua 11 verses 21 to 22, which describes Joshua's campaign to drive out the Anakim from the hill country of Canaan. The passage states, "At that time, Joshua came and wiped out the Anakim from the hill country, from Hebron, Debir, Anab, and all the hill country of Judah and Israel. Joshua devoted them to destruction along with their cities. None of the Anakim were left in the land of Israel, but some remained in Gaza, Gath, and Ashdod." This account reveals that while Joshua and the Israelites eliminated the Anakim from most of the land, a few survivors fled to Philistine cities, including Gath. Interestingly, Goliath was from Gath, a detail mentioned in 1 Samuel 17. By connecting these dots, it becomes evident that Goliath was likely a descendant of the Anakim, who were themselves regarded as Nephilim giants by the Israelites. This connection also explains the presence of other giants who fought against Israel. For instance, 2 Samuel 21 verses 16 to 22 and 1 Chronicles 20 verses 4 to 8 describe figures like Ishbi-Benob and Saph as descendants of the giants allied with the Philistines. The text even refers to another warrior called Goliath the Gittite, likely a brother of the more famous Goliath. The term Gittite identifies these giants as originating from Gath, further solidifying the link between the Anakim and the Philistine giants. The Anakim, having been driven from their homes by Joshua's conquest, seem to have found refuge in Philistine territory. Over time, these exiles became allies of the Philistines, likely motivated by a desire for revenge against the Israelites. Goliath and his kin may have been among these displaced descendants of the Anakim, making them eager participants in the Philistine-Israelite conflicts. To fully understand the origins of the Nephilim, we must revisit their first mention in Genesis 6 verses 1 to 4. This passage describes the sons of God intermingling with human women, resulting in the birth of the Nephilim. Many scholars interpret the sons of God as angelic beings, a view supported by other biblical references to this term in Job 1 verse 6, 2 verse 1, and 38 verse 7. This interpretation contrasts with alternative theories, such as the Sethite view, which suggests that the Nephilim were the result of unions between the descendants of Seth and Cain. However, the text does not explicitly support the idea that Seth's lineage was wholly righteous while Cain's was entirely wicked. Genesis 6 verse 4 states, "The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God came in to the daughters of men and they bore children to them. These were the mighty men who were of old, the men of renown." While this verse does not explicitly describe the Nephilim as giants, the connection to Numbers 13, where the Nephilim are described as towering figures, has led to their long-standing association with gigantism. Ancient translations, such as the Septuagint, render the term Nephilim as gigantes, giants, likely influenced by the descriptions in Numbers. Although some argue that the spies account in Numbers 13 might have been exaggerated, it seems more plausible that the report was grounded in historical memory. Genesis 6:4's reference to the Nephilim existing afterward aligns with the idea that these giants reappeared in the land of Canaan, as seen in the connection between the Anakim and the Nephilim. God's judgment through the flood was intended to purge the earth of humanity's corruption, including the Nephilim. Noah, described as blameless in his generations, Genesis 6 verse 9, likely represented a pure lineage untainted by Nephilim influence. Yet, despite the flood, giants later re-emerged, particularly in Canaan, as seen in the biblical narratives involving the Anakim and their descendants. In conclusion, the evidence suggests that Goliath was more than just a Philistine warrior. His connection to Gath, his towering stature, and his possible descent from the Anakim all point to a lineage rooted in the mysterious Nephilim giants. This lineage not only enhances the legendary aura surrounding Goliath but also ties his story to a broader biblical narrative of divine beings, human rebellion, and the enduring struggle between Israel and its adversaries. Goliath's tale, therefore, is not just one of personal might but a reflection of ancient conflicts and mysteries that continue to captivate readers today. Numbers 13 provides an essential account of giants in Canaan. After Israel fled Egypt and was journeying through the wilderness, Moses sent 12 spies, one from each tribe, to scout the promised land. Their mission was to assess whether the land's inhabitants were strong or weak, Numbers 13 verse 18. After 40 days, the spies returned with a mixed report. While they confirmed the land flows with milk and honey and displayed its fruit, Numbers 13 verse 27, they painted a grim picture of its inhabitants. The spies described powerful people, vast fortified cities, and the presence of Anak's descendants. They detailed the distribution of other groups, the Amalekites in the Negev, Hittites, Jebusites, and Amorites in the hill country, and Canaanites along the sea and the Jordan, Numbers 13 verses 28 to 29. Caleb, one of the spies, urged the Israelites to seize the land, but the majority claimed it was impossible due to the locals' superior strength, Numbers 13 verses 30 to 31. Their report escalated further. "The land through which we have gone to spy it out is one that devours its inhabitants, and all the people we saw in it are of great height. And we saw the Nephilim, the descendants of Anak, and we seemed like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and so we seemed to them," Numbers 13 verses 32 to 33. The spies' lack of faith angered God. As punishment, Israel was condemned to wander the wilderness for 40 years, 1 year for each day of their scouting mission. The unfaithful spies were struck down by a plague, leaving only Caleb and Joshua alive, Numbers 14 verses 20 to 38. The report of giants in Canaan raises questions about its accuracy. While the spies likely exaggerated some descriptions due to fear, Moses later corroborates their claims. In Deuteronomy 9 verses 1 to 2, Moses tells Israel they will face nations greater and mightier than themselves, with fortified cities up to heaven and people great and tall, the sons of the Anakim. The Anakim, specifically, were widely known for their size and strength, leading to the common refrain, "Who can stand before the sons of Anak?" The Anakim were descendants of Anak, who had 3 notable sons, Sheshai, Ahiman, and Talmai, Joshua 15 verse 14, Judges 1 verses 10 to 20. Joshua led Israel in a campaign that largely eradicated the Anakim, sparing only the cities of Gaza, Gath, and Ashdod, Joshua 11 verses 21 to 22. Goliath, described as a giant from Gath in 1 Samuel 17 verse 4, is thought to be a descendant of the Anakim. Caleb, too, played a role in defeating the Anakim, driving them out of Hebron, a city once called Kiriath Arba, named after Arba, the greatest of the Anakim, Joshua 14 verse 15, Judges 1 verse 10-20. If the Anakim were descendants of the Nephilim mentioned in Genesis 6, how did they reappear after the flood? Genesis 6 describes the Nephilim as the offspring of the sons of God, interpreted as spirit beings or angels, and human women. These beings were wiped out in the flood. Some suggest the flood was merely local, but this conflicts with the biblical narrative of a global event intended to eliminate the Nephilim. Two plausible theories address their reappearance. 1. Recurring events. After the flood, another similar event may have occurred, where spirit beings again bred with women to produce more Nephilim. 2. Genetic survival. Nephilim traits may have been passed down through Noah's daughters-in-law, who were not direct descendants of Noah. If these women carried Nephilim genes, they could have passed them on to their descendants through Ham, Shem, and Japheth. Both explanations remain speculative, but they help clarify how giants, such as the Anakim, could have existed post-flood. The account in Numbers 13 reflects the Israelites' fear and lack of faith, but it also provides insight into the presence of giants in Canaan. The Anakim, likely descendants of the Nephilim, were formidable foes. Despite their fearsome reputation, their defeat by Joshua, Caleb, and the Israelites serves as a testament to God's power and faithfulness. Whether through divine intervention or historical lineage, the legacy of giants like Goliath continues to spark intrigue and debate among biblical scholars and readers alike. I appreciate your support.